Good Wednesday morning. Hosea, let's loose here. Okay, I'll read it to you. Israel is a luxuriant vine whose fruit matches its growth. The more abundant his fruit, the more altars he built. There's your betrayal, you see. He begins to believe in himself, see? The more productive his land, the more sacred pillars he set up. You see, it's a false self-belief. It's an exaggerated self-belief. It's to forget who really has led you here, you see? Okay? Okay? Their heart is false. Now they pay for their guilt. How? You got what you pay for. Watch. God shall break down their altars and destroy their sacred pillars. If they would say, we have no king, since they do not fear the Lord, what can the king do for them? Now here's the thing that goes on. Watch what he says here. Boy, is that truth too. The king of Samaria should disappear. Boy, is that ever true. Like foam upon the water. Anybody's been around the water, you know what foam is like. It evaporates. As soon as the sun hits it, evaporates. The high places of Avon shall be destroyed, the sin of Israel. Thorns and thistles shall overgrown their altars. Then they shall cry out to the mountains, cover us, and the hills fall upon us. Now, the counter to that is sow for yourselves justice. Reap the fruit of piety. Break up for yourselves a new field, for it is time to seek the Lord till he come and rain down justice upon you. Make all things right. Learn from history. That's what I'm hearing in that text. Okay? Boy, it's a great line. The king of Samaria shall disappear like foam upon the waters. Again, I keep beating this thing to death, but look at the 20th century. Let's look at the 20th century. As the monsters of history disappear, their effects last for 2 or 3 generations, but they themselves evaporate. I think of Hitler in a bunker blowing his brains out. The guy who led the world to horror ends up shooting himself. Nothing but a lousy little coward. See? He feared being brought to justice. See? Miserable little coward. He will forever be the face of infamy. You see? Yeah. And 1,000 years from now, you won't even be a footnote. See? Be careful of the gods you worship. That's the kicker here. Watch out for the gods you worship. See? Be careful for the gods you create. See, in the beginning, he says, you see that text, you begin to worship the false god of wealth and power, the product of our efforts. It's not that we should minimize our productivity of the things we have accomplished and what we have done with our life. Not at all. I'm in the business of education. What do you think I'm training people for, educating for? It's to lead and to accomplish, but not to make a false god out of it. I think one has to, you get it when you realize this as you get older, the fleetingness of time, and you seek something greater than temporal success, although you still revere it and you still treasure it, but you don't absolutize it. Even wealth is fleeting. You can't take $1 with you to the grave, right? You see? That's the truth. And when you see the good things of this life, you see what is really good, the intimacy of love, which is not for sale, you see. It's not power. It's goodness, beauty, justice. See? The things you've accomplished in life that are of eternal value, that is what you treasure. Your friendship, your spouses, your children, the good that is in life. I mean that. When I get older, I see the things that I hopefully have accomplished in life, but I see how fleeting they are. But what is not fleeting is the tenderness of love itself, the people of my life. I was asked by a colleague not long ago, when I think about heaven, what do I think of? And I think of being with those whom I have loved and been loved by. St. Paul said that a long time ago. He says, love is eternal, but love is personal. It's not a platonic form. Love is intimate. It's an actual intimacy that is intrinsically personal. There's no such thing as an abstract love. I love everybody. No, you don't. Love is personal. And that, when I think of paradise, that's what I think of. When I told that to Sarah, there is no paradise without you. And I meant that. I say that to my Junie. I say it to my parents, my fellow Passionists. There's no paradise without you. There's no paradise without Flavian. There's no the men of my life, the great Passionist of my life. I want to be with them again. I want to be with my parents again. See? My aunts and my uncles, those who are the persons of my narrative whom I have loved and been loved by. I say it, with whom I have walked this life in the intimacy of love and friendship. See? Those are eternal. That's not the whirlwind. That's not wind. That's the substance of life itself. And I believe that. It's not foam upon the water. Power is foam. Wealth is foam on the water. You can't take it with you. See? But love is not foam. It's the very substance of life itself. See? That's the truth. I think when you get older, you begin to see that better. Maybe you don't. I don't know. I just see myself doing it. I don't know. I think with great cherishing and great gratitude, the people of my life and whom Providence has given me, the great story. Even the people of St. Tim's and St. Mark's Parish, 50 years in a parish. I mean, when I think of the church, I think of St. Tim's. I remember being in Rome with my father and mother. My dad wanted me to go to the Vatican. So I went with my mother and dad to the Vatican, and there was Pope Paul VI, okay? Great crowds in St. Peter's. He walked right past us, okay? And I remember thinking I'd rather be at Timmy's, meaning St. Tim's. Why? Well, to me, the Vatican is showtime, okay? I'm not taking away the magisterial teaching of the church, nor her authority, or nor the rest. But when you want to ask what is Christianity, it's the intimate love of the people for Christ and each other in the intimacy of communion. In the gospel today, Christ calls the apostles. He invites them to a life. He invites them to the community of apostleship. He invites them, come follow me. Come on, gang. You see? See? That's St. Tim's. When I came to Timmy's 51 years ago, it was an invitation by the pastor. Come here and give me a hand, and I'll give you a free ride. I give you a free room and board. And I fell in love with the parish, and they loved me. And have loved me ever since, putting up with all my nonsense. So I wouldn't be making this video. It wasn't principally for St. Tim's, St. Mark's. Who would have guessed it? It was a calling. I didn't know. The last thing in the world I ever thought I'd ever be involved in the same parish for 51 years. 5 generations, roughly 5. Yeah. Amazing, isn't it? It's the calling. It's the calling of friendship and love. See? It's not the way. It is not sowing the wind. It's an invitation to love, which is not windy, and it doesn't give rise to whirlwinds, but the intimacy and permanence of love itself that is eternal. Yeah, it's the truth. See? That's the truth. It's not foam on the water. I know what foam on the water is. Man, I've been out fishing it. Trust me. It's some of the most beautiful sights in the world is go to a lake very early in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, and watch the foam on the water. You'll see it. You know what? As soon as that sun's up, it's gone. It's the heat of the day. It's gone. And so is its beauty. I'm not taking away from the goodness of beauty and human success, but it is foamy. And in the course of the day of life, it evaporates, but love does not. Love is eternal and permanent, and it's personal. It's not an abstraction, it's personal. When I said to Sarah, my Sarah is true. Sarah, there's no paradise without you. There's no paradise without you, Junie. Bill, no paradise without you, Mom and Dad. Uncle Harry, Cianita, Uncle Julio, Aunt Marguerite, Flav, Norb, the men of the order. There's no paradise without you.